Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to today's live session. I'm very excited for the incredible conversation that we are going to have today. And it is especially powerful because we want to talk about one thing that none of us really want, but actually, that's the one thing that could completely turn around your growth and your trajectory in your life. And the thing I'm talking about is negativity. I've been noticing a trend that I'm sure you must have noticed too in our world, in social media, in the motivational world, in the self help world, you must have noticed that there's something that's been developed recently called an intolerance to negativity, where everybody's chasing peace of mind. Everybody is chasing positive, high emotions. Everybody is chasing positive, high energy people and saying, cut off the people that don't help you. And we are saying, cut off the problems and the challenges that don't help you. Cut off the things that make you feel negative because your peace and happiness and calmness matter the most. And I agree with all of that. There is no point, there is no need to keep negative people around. But here's the problem that happens when we believe that wholeheartedly and when we don't allow the negativity to exist as well. When rather than just ignoring it or being indifferent to it, when we become intolerant towards it, we end up manifesting and attracting it even more. Let me explain this to you by a simple example, okay? Let's say you're someone who doesn't like to smoke, and that's why you're getting bothered by the people who smoke, because when that happens, when there's someone around you who's smoking, that smoke affects you too, right? Now, there are two ways in which you can deal with this situation. The first way to deal with the situation is every time you're seeing someone smoking, you walk up to them and you give them a lecture on what's the wrong thing that they're doing. You explain to them how it's bad for their health, how it's bad for the health of everybody around them. And every single time you see a smoker, you repeat this lecture and you repeat this cycle because you believe it is my duty as a loyal citizen of the world to ensure that everybody is breathing freely. But the problem that happens is when you see a smoker, and even if the smoker is what 50, 100 meters away, even before the smoke can reach you, you're already suffocated and frustrated and irritated because every single time you've become used to giving that lecture out to people on why smoking is bad because you've become intolerant of smoking as an act itself. Now, you may have a very noble mission. I have no doubt about it. But tell me honestly, can you eliminate the act of smoking from the world? Of course not. There are going to be people who choose to do it while being completely well aware of the risks and the challenges that are there. Can you support your loved ones? Can you help your friends? Can you help the people around you? Of course you can, if they are willing to be helped. But if you choose to get frustrated and irritated and suffocated and all righteous when you're intolerant of a smoker who is suffering from that negativity every single day, you are. Who is noticing a smoker everywhere you go? You are. And who's getting bothered by the smoker everywhere you go? You are. But rather, if you believe simply, I'm never going to smoke, I'm never going to have people around me as friends who smoke, that's a very clear category for me. If I see someone doing that, their life, their choice, I can choose to just walk away and leave. They're an adult who may be making the right choice. I don't need to go on and interfere in their lives and be an activist when there is no need to. Now, this is what we call acceptance and indifference rather than intolerance. Now, this way, the smoke from the other person is not affecting you because you are choosing to take a clear stand and move away. But at the same time, you are not punishing yourself for destroying your life in an effort to change others in a way they won't be changed. So this is what we call as a difference between intolerance and indifference or acceptance. With negativity in our world, the problem that's happening is we are becoming intolerant of negativity, as a result of which we are attracting more and more and more of it. Let me explain you how. Let's say there's a challenging situation that's coming up at work for you. And for a few moments, you feel very stressed and negative and just all worked up. And you're like, oh my God, my work is destroying my mental health. My work is destroying my peace. What can I do? I should not have felt this way. I should have felt that, you know what? I'm growing and I'm loving it and I'm resilient and I'm strong. Why am I feeling so weak and powerless and irritated like I could punch a bag right now? The moment we ask that question and we become intolerant of the negativity, we start thinking, oh, whatever we are doing is not right for us. Why? Because it's giving us negative feelings. It's making us feel negative. And as a result of that, what happens is, to avoid the negative feelings, we eventually learn to start avoiding the actions we need to take. We eventually learn to start avoiding the people, the situations, the jobs, the work that is important and necessary to get done. Why? Oh, because we are too busy protecting our mental peace. Now, here's something I want you to understand. The more you are intolerant of negativity, the more you are intolerant of a challenge showing up in your life, guess what is going to happen every single time you're trying to grow? You are going to get even more triggered. You're going to get even more negative. You're going to get even more angry and judgmental and hateful at yourself for being negative, even when you know you shouldn't be negative. And as a result of that, the whole cycle goes again, where rather than growing and rather than succeeding, what's happening is you are repeating negativity on loop when your aim was to avoid it in the first place. And that's what happens when we get intolerant rather than just indifferent or accepting. Now, my simple question is, you have always been pretty intolerant of negativity. Like, no, 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 no. I don't want negativity. I don't want any challenge. I'm done with it. I don't want anything to do with anything that's bad. Then, can you avoid negativity in the world? That's my very first question. You cannot. Can you avoid the world? No, you cannot. But in trying to avoid the negativity in the world, you start avoiding most of the world. And as a direct result, you start losing opportunities, you start losing growth, you start losing out on life. Look, my friend, negativity is going to be a part of life no matter how hard you try to get rid of it. The more intolerant you are, the more difficult it gets because every time it happens, it gets on your nerves. But when you become indifferent or accepting of it, what happens is you may not like it, but you're okay with it. See, this is a state we don't often talk about. It's either this or that. But oftentimes there can exist this state in the world where things are not black and white, things are gray, and it's okay for that gray space to exist as well. It's okay for you to have negativity and not like the negativity and still be okay with its presence. It's okay for you to have the negative thoughts and still choose to not act on them because you are an empowered version of yourself. It's okay for you to do everything right as you're growing and still sometimes maybe end up doubting yourself. But rather than taking that doubt as a sign, oh my God, I'm not cut off for what I want to do, you take that doubt as a sign to see, where am I lacking because of which this doubt is coming up? Where I need to up my efforts. And then you do that, and the doubt serves its purpose and it shows you the direction you need to head to. That is why the easiest and the quickest way to start accepting negativity and to actually let go of it and to actually use it to your benefit is to start transforming your negativity into growth. With the simple way of thinking being, whatever I'm being negative about, what is my teachable moment here? I'll repeat the question. Whatever I'm being negative about, what is my teachable moment here? And the simple way to recognize this is in three simple stages, okay? First, recognize what negative emotion are you feeling. That's pretty simple for all of us to do because when we're angry, oh my God, I'm angry and I'm just going to come and I'm ready in the boxing position. I'm going to punch you and whatever it is, right? When we're in that angry zone, oh, we're sad and melancholic, and we're like, you know what? Life has no purpose, and what am I even doing here? What's the point? And you know that sad, negative, lonely state that you are in, right? So you can identify easily the emotion that's going on, that's blocking you, that's creating this problem for you. Then, once you identify that, comes the second step, which is to simply identify what am I thinking and believing in this moment that's causing me to feel this way. Simple as that. There's a thought and a belief out there that's creating this negativity inside you. But then, please do not rush to change this. I know every single self help video out there in the world has told you how to turn your negatives into positives. I'm telling you to please keep your negatives as negatives until you learn the lesson that those negatives are there to teach you. Because once you do, then it becomes easy and natural for you to embrace the positive because your life becomes the proof of that. Now, let me give you a very simple example of how the cycle works. So, step one, recognize the emotion. Step two, recognize the thought and belief behind the emotion. And step three, ask yourself, what is my lesson here? What do I need to learn from this situation to upgrade and improve? Now, whether it's in your relationships or whether it's in your career, whether it's in your health, whether it's in your finances, this applies everywhere. Let me give you a few quick examples to show you how you can use your negativity and fuel it into growth. Let's say you're doing a job right now, okay, and you are feeling very, very scared and anxious. Why? Because you believe AI is going to take over and you'll be out of a job. Now, the simple thought process, let's break this down. The simple thought process is feeling scared and anxious. Why? The thought is AI is going to take away my job. Now, in this, ask yourself, if I just sit in this negative emotion and I'm just embracing the negativity, or I'm just trying to change the negativity by saying I'm brave and I'm courageous, I'm brave and I'm courageous, and I'm repeating that as an affirmation 1,000 times a day without doing the inner work required to upgrade it, it's not going to help. But what is going to help is a simple realization to the fact that if I am feeling fearful and anxious about AI taking over my job, what can I do to give my mind the proof that there's no need for us to be fearful and anxious? The simple thing is, you start learning AI, you start building the skills required to upgrade in your job, you build the first principles, and as you do so, naturally, the fear and the anxiety go away in that specific situation. Now, can they come up for something else? Of course, they can. And if they come up too often, that's the emotional pattern you need to work upon and change. It's something we cover much deeper in the one to one coaching that I do with people. I wanted to give you a glimpse of that today to help you break out of this struggle of negativity that's been hovering over your head, that either I should always be positive or never be negative. No. Negativity also has a purpose. When you can recognize that purpose, as we just did in this example, we are able to use that negativity as a catalyst for growth, because rather than being scared and intolerant of it, we are being accepting of it and we're taking the lesson that it's here to teach us. Now, in the context of relationships, this is a beautiful example. Every single time, every single time someone in your life triggers you, be it your mom, your boyfriend or your girlfriend, your husband or your wife, some of your friends, whoever it may be, whenever anybody triggers you, you have an emotional reaction. The emotional reactions are either anger or sadness or loneliness or other problems that are there for you. And then there's a thought that accompanies that emotion. So let's say you've had an argument with your life partner, and the emotion that you're feeling is a lot of anger and suffocation because you think you were misunderstood and he or she didn't understand you the way you wanted them to understand you. Now, this is the feeling and the thought that's going on. Now, rather than changing this and trying to bring love with a simple but a quick fix that doesn't last, you ask yourself, what's my lesson here? What am I missing? What do I need to learn? What's this teachable moment for me here? And you realize the teachable moment here is that you need to work upon your communication skills and your skills to handle and manage conflict. So the next time, rather than getting frustrated and irritated, you can stay calm and composed even in the face of a fight, even in the face of a challenge. And the moment you can do this, the moment you can start thinking of your negativity as a catalyst for your growth and actually ask the question, have a conversation with it rather than avoiding it, the very things that could become barriers for other people become the stepping stones for your success. The greatest leaders, entrepreneurs, and successful athletes I know and I've studied and I've heard of aren't masters at avoiding their emotions, aren't masters at avoiding the negativity. In fact, they are masters at accepting and embracing it because they know every negative moment is a chance to be better. every single incidence of negativity happening in my life is a chance for me to grow and evolve. So one, their hatred and intolerance for negativity goes down. It goes to zero. They're accepting of it. So it stops bothering their peace of mind and they're able to live a happy life. They're able to live a fulfilling life even in the face of challenges. And second, in the face of challenges, they don't crumble. They grow. They succeed. They go to the next level because they understand that there's no point being intolerant of negativity. If they can accept it and learn from it, that's the best gift the universe is giving them. So think about your negativity this way. Whatever you've been avoiding, do you really need to avoid it? Or can you just become your 100% honest self with yourself, learn the lesson from the negativity, and let that moment become your greatest teacher for your growth and success? That is how you become an alchemist in your life, where you take normal lead, you turn it into gold. You take negativity and you turn it into the fire that lights up your abundance, success, love, and life. I'm excited to see the magic and transformation you will create with this powerful skill, with this powerful ability to reframe all your negativity. Do share your thoughts with me on my email, on my social media, in the comments here. Inspire me. I'd love to hear your stories about that as well. Thank you so much for tuning into today's live. As always, I deeply and humbly appreciate the fact that you spent 15 minutes here with me every single day. I know I sometimes extend the time by a minute or two. I apologize for that, but I just want to make sure I get the message out to you in the best way possible. I hope today was valuable for you in that way. And I'll see you once again tomorrow at the same time. That is 8:30 p.m. IST. Bye. Thank you so much.